I guess that's why they call it Rugby's Greatest Championship, TM. I'm going to say it out loud once more because I can't quite believe any of it actually happened. So, in what felt like the perfect way to sober Welsh celebrations, England decided to do what England do best and went full imperialism as they crushed their dissenting colony with a simple glee, smashing a Scotland team with an injury list currently longer than the Vunipola family's Christmas food bill. But then, after apparently taking a team talk from both Williams, Webb Ellis and Wallace, Scotland rose up, fought back, got level, and then took the lead in the 76th minute, only to slip to a draw after George Ford scored a last-minute try that really no one in Twickenham should have been celebrating. As a comeback, it made Wales' second-half snatching Duns Le Paris in week 1 seem small as Scotland stood on the cusp of breaking the all-time test record and making it irrelevant and slightly tragic that I know by heart that Chile came back from 27 points down to beat Uruguay in 2007. At 31-0 down, there should have been no way back for Scotland. So how did they do it, and what did England take from a game that everybody and nobody deserved to win? England started the game with what is now their traditional first 10 try, having scored inside the opening 3 minutes in 6 of their 9 games so far this season. This has become a huge part of how England play. If Eddie Jones has a plan to play the opposition, some neat analysis to expose the enemy, England plays that card right away. No hanging about, they look to get themselves ahead and nab the psychological advantage. Against Scotland, that analysis was simple, with England's worst nightmare injured. At outside centre, Scotland are currently playing the physical embodiment of Glasgow on a Saturday night, Nick Grigg. Grigg is basically an angry donut made entirely of muscle. A baldy Begsby who's great at punching holes and wiggling through tackles he has no right to, but he has a habit of being just too aggressive in defence, of jumping out of line to glass the guy about to get the ball. With the Scotland defence still slightly shakily aligned after the kick, England used Tuolangi as the dummy runner. Grigg has probably seen that clip of Tuolangi lamping Ashton on YouTube and decides he wants a bit of that, so flies up to ask Manu if he wants to take this outside, which gives Daly and Slade basically half the pitch to attack and a free run into the 22. From there, it's just a case of fixing Finn and mystifying Maitland, who turns his back for just a second and gives us now the perfect opportunity to step and finish the try. In addition to Grigg's violent misread, my boy Sam Johnson also sells himself right away. Knowing it could have been a tenner from Owen's dad, Johnson shoots in to try and smash Owen Farrell, but Farrell's fingers have got fast from years of playing the hand slap game with Papa Faz, and he flicks the pass right away, and his teammates turn that into 5 points. Now, I obviously didn't see this until half time because I was too busy watching Wales celebrate winning the title, but that try was actually a great encapsulation of what went on in the first half. It's really nice play by England, passing on point or very well timed, great attacking rugby, consistently making the right options and exploiting any chinks in Scottish armour. And Scotland did nothing to make up for the fact that that armour is literally just a kilt, instead upskirting themselves regularly, but not yet with the all-out thistle-flashing confidence of that second half, where they became very, very willing to show off their mightily impressive Johnson. Instead, the players just seemed to lose trust in each other. All across that first half, Scotland players seemed to be trying to make amends for a teammate's mistake before their teammate had even done anything wrong, like they were expecting everything to fall apart any minute, running around like headless chickens, albeit ones that weren't interested in taking Johnny May's body. When things aren't going well, it's very easy to become frustrated, and that manifested with each player trying to be a hero, the guy trying to make the big try-saving tackle, instead of just trusting the system, which could have snuffed out the attack easily. Scotland then struggled to get any kind of attack going, England's line speed trapping them behind the gain line and making them unable to generate the kind of go forward and position that lets them play the way they want to. This itself became aggravating, every aspect of the game feeding their frustration and weakening their defence, letting England walk right through them. Then something happened. If someone had pulled me aside at the 35-minute mark and said Scotland would go on to take the lead following a comeback inspired by a 70-metre individual try by a front rower who outpaces Owen Farrell on the way to the line, I'd have asked you how Andy Farrell got into my living room. And yet, it happened. Stuart McAnally's flukish spectacle of a try, sparking a comeback that could be accurately described as mad, crazy, bonkers, demented, deranged, crackers, potty, dotty, nutty, mental, hysterical, loopy, loony, loco, screwy, dippy, or perhaps most accurately, as absolute Finsanity. If ever there was a fixture made for Finn Russell to flourish, it was Saturday. As pressure subsided and Townsend gave Russell permission to turn off tactics, Scotland just began to play. And man alive, did they play. In this fixture last year, Finn Russell threw what I would argue is possibly the best pass of all time. And this year he managed to live up to it by dropping a distributory arsenal on England's asses. There was this pass, huge, floated, and takes out the entire England defence in one go. He doesn't actually pass to anybody. Darcy, he passes straight to the space in the England defence, and that's Maitland, who's coming from deep, allowing himself to pick his angle late, to find that space. Finn forces his fullback's line and creates the try in the process, which is then brilliantly finished by Darcy Graham. There was this pass, subtle, small, a product of unpredictability. England have to watch for the slip ball outside, missing Johnson running on the inside, some lovely offloading by Scotland, then lets them get the ball wide, creating another try which was brilliantly finished by Darcy Graham. There was this pass. Russell has been determined to pull this off all tournament, trying against Ireland and Wales before striking gold by throwing a dummy with his eyes on Saturday. His head looking at the back, Tuolangi watches the wide man, securing the knowledge Johnson isn't getting the ball. It's going to Maitland. Nathan Hughes becomes possessed by the ghost of Courtney Laws and jumps at the chance to smash a 10 half his size. The moment Hughes comes in to rumble Russell, Finn drops off the ball to Johnson, who times his run perfectly into a gap between England's Polynesian contingent, hitting a hole that wasn't there moments ago, but it's now about the size of that between Samoa and Fiji. Johnson then takes the chance beautifully. This brilliant step, putting him through and over the line. Then there was the other pass, the one that Finn didn't throw. It's now 59 minutes, and a lot has happened since Scotland's upskirt hero complex. Now, everyone alongside them is a hero, a triumphant Tartan warrior about to show Proud Eddie's army something that'll make them think again. They trust each other to do the right thing at every opportunity, and this trust shines most brightly in Russell flying in for the intercept, trusting his fellow heroes will cover the tackle if he misses the ball. He picked one off in very similar circumstances against Ireland, and this time he doesn't have Keith Earls in his face like a haunted onion tracking across, so he can just run it under the post himself and put Scotland level. Scotland also scored this try, which was brilliant, but doesn't fit my narrative because this chip wasn't done by Finn. I can't remember who the guy that actually gave that pass was. Who was it? Does anyone know? It was. That's right. I know who that is. That's early Price. It was a total shift in mentality. As the game ticked on, Russell switched tactics back on and began to play some smart rugby to accompany the brand of batshit beauty he'd been serving up all game. His kicking game began to pin England back, and but for a couple of daft penalties, you suspect that was almost enough to see them through. But for all Scotland's brilliance, you also have to ask how England let themselves get into a position in which they gave up a lead that big. This is far from the first time Eddie Jones's England has failed to beat a team after being multiple scores up. It now seems normal for them to switch off completely when they get ahead. Jones claims this is a problem England have been suffering from since before he took over. It's therefore not his fault, which is a great example of him following the referee's official line. If in doubt, blame Stuart Lancaster. No matter whose fault it was, however, it serves to make England's World Cup group the most exciting and the least predictable imagining. With no game safe to call until about 3 hours after the final whistle's gone. In the last year, both England and Argentina have given up 31-7 half-time leads, and France's second half against Wales shows that they can capitulate like the best of them. It's going to be a group stage, certainly. However, at the same time, a word to England's resolve. They were torn apart by Scotland, and yet they dragged themselves back and nicely worked the space once more to stretch Scotland out before Ford was able to slide under the post to equalise. On the one hand, Twickenham should not have been seeing rambunctious celebrations at the sight of stealing a draw from a game where they were, and I need to repeat this, 31-0 up. And yet, you can't help but want to celebrate, no matter who you are supporting. For having had the chance to witness what was an absolutely brilliant game of rugby. We get drawn in by the notion of supporting our team during the Six Nations, but nothing compares to being reminded why we love to watch our game. Because when it's good, there really, really is nothing that can compare to rugby's greatest championship. So the Six Nations might be over. That might be the end of it for another year. But the coverage I'm doing on the channel certainly is not. Me oh my oh no boy. That is not the case at all. That was not a phrase I want to say again. No, I'm going to be doing videos on all 3 games from the final round of matches. So please stick around if you want to see Italy v France and Wales v Ireland covered, or how Wales won the Grand Slam. I will be going into that in hopefully the next few days. Thank you, therefore, to everyone that has watched any of these over the course of the Six Nations, and especially to everyone that has supported on Patreon. It's allowed me to make these as quickly as I can, to turn these around quickly, rather than doing what I did last year, which was to do sort of odd videos on what was going on throughout the tournament, throughout the course of it slowly. And also thank you to everyone that has supported the Malawi Sevens team's attempt to get a side together to play in the African Rugby National Championships, because that tournament is this weekend. The team is playing in the competition for the first time ever this weekend, and it's largely thanks to you guys and the Rugby Union subreddit. this team wouldn't exist otherwise. They wouldn't have got together. They wouldn't have managed to get a team together to fly out and play. Now, the tournament is being live streamed, so we can join in together and cheer for Malawi on Saturday this weekend if you want to. I'll be tweeting out a link close to the time, but that's very, very exciting. I want to say thank you to all of you who have supported them. And even if it's just, tuning in to watch on Saturday, I think we're all behind Malawi, and I just want to say thank you again for doing that. There's going to be more videos coming for the next few days, including the one in which I announced the winner of the Super Blue League. Thank you very much. I'll see you then.